Say his name and he appears. I believe in Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast where we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, and we chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the end of Warbreaker with chapters 54 through the Epilogue. So now let's throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe! What up, everyone? As you heard, it's Cosmere Chronicles.
Yo.
I'm Joe, and I'm joined again by Justin and Sheta. What's up with that?
Skizzy to the hizzy to beat back the busy.
Wow. I'm not joining in this bit.
This ain't no bit, dog. This is lazy.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. If anybody else wants to listen to incredibly cringe mid to early 2000s hip-hop talk, you're in the correct place.
You know it. Word up with your bird up.
Wow. I'm transported to high school times.
No, this is worse than that.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Stop it.
You ain't heard worse till you heard this verse.
Oh, no. Justin, stop.
I've been bit with the hip-hop bug, and I gotta follow that tug.
Now you're just starting to talk like Hypno Hustler.
If I should be so lucky to talk as one of my role models.
That is not a role model. That is an
Still
incredibly
sad
lame
they
character.
canceled that movie.
I'm not. I am fine with it. I don't care how many Donald Glovers you put in it. I do not want to see a Hypno Hustler movie.
Man, I would have been there day whizzun.
If people don't know who Hypno Hustler is, he is a villain from one issue of Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man from the 70s.
Joe,
That's
are you
it.
trying to imply that our audience may not know who Hypno Hustler is? Come on. These are people of culture listening to this.
He has had like some just cameo appearances in other comics after that, but as jokes, but yeah, that's the only time he was a feature character was in one issue of Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. And they were also working on making a movie starring Donald Glover.
I would have been for it.
I'm going to be honest, Sheta,
is,
even I was not for that. That's how bad of an idea that was.
Hey, it's still better than the Bad Bunny movie that they were planning to make, where he was supposed to be playing
El Morte?
an even more obscure character, a random character from one issue of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man from like 2006 or 7, a character that doesn't even have the relevance or jokiness of Hypno Hustler.
Jeez. Man, Sony was just giving out these movies, huh?
They really were, if you go look at the list
Yikes.
of canceled ones. It's pretty funny.
Let's go into our random questions and shit. We'll just do one this week so we can get to the bigger stuff.
What bigger stuff?
But so we'll continue our line of overrated stuff by going into overrated live action shows.
Oh, God. Joe, you have to do two, because I need this evened out with a positive. I can't just have people hate me for saying that their favorite show is garbage.
All right.
No,
I'll let you think
I don't
on that.
want to play this. No.
We'll start with a happy thing. So positive then. We will go with positive. What is your favorite romance, rom-com, anime, or manga?
What? Wait, I don't.
So specific.
You're asking the wrong person.
Justin, I know for a fact you've watched some. Some I've made you watch.
You mean all of them?
No, you made him watch one.
I guess. Oh, I guess I would.
Oh, can't you do something more vague than that? That gives me some leeway. Normally, it's favorite movie, favorite show.
What, favorite romance, anime, or manga? That's an entire genre of anime.
I suppose.
If you need time to
How
think,
much does it have to be on the romance side?
I don't know. It has to be a major
Is there a
focal
cheat?
point.
If there's any romance, you can count it.
Any
No.
romance? Naruto.
No. Bleach. Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Justin, I know for a fact that you've watched both Dress Up Darling and Kaguya-sama.
I gotta answer this question honestly.
and you've read some nisekoi. Well, maybe Sheta can go first if Justin needs to think.
All right. I'm gonna go with High School Rumble.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
School Rumble.
I like High School Rumble.
High School Rumble. It's
All right. That's not the name.
things like that get lost in translation from the original Japanese. So
Since I don't know its Japanese title, I cannot argue with you as much as I'd like to. I like the Haganai manga. I liked that quite a bit. I like the characters in there and the stuff with that. That'll be my answer. I have not watched the anime, did not read the light novel, which Joe has told me do not read that. But I liked the manga.
Well, you can read the light novel, just don't read the final volume. The light novel, the final volume, just so many people act out of character and it just really ruins it. The manga fixed a lot of those issues and you get a much better ending. The anime's good, it just did not adapt the full story. Alright, for me, yes, I'll throw out 2. Nisekoi is one of my favorites. It's hilarious, it's funny, and I feel like the ending of that story is one of the best, because some other ones I've watched, and at the end, when like the main character like chooses, oh yep, this is the girl I want to go out with, you just don't really feel it. It's like the writer has to tell you, this is why he loves her. But Nisekoi does a good job where by the end, just from the way the main character is talking about the girls, thinking about them, how they like just interact, you really get a much more of a feeling of who he loves instead of just being straight up told. So that way when he makes his choice, it just makes sense.
so there's not a twist. How boring. I'm just kidding.
No, I've read some other
Just
ones
kidding.
where at the end it's just like, oh, they try to keep it up as a thing where there's 5 possible love interests. Let's try to keep it a mystery the entire time. Then you get to the end, it's like, you did not go to do a good job at building up who's going to win, so just keep up the mystery, so it just fell flat. And then my other favorite rom-com would probably be Rent-A-Girlfriend, which, if people hear it, they might think lower of me, because that is, right now, for the last 5 years, like the biggest punching bag in all of anime for the entire like English-speaking world. So many people have never read it, never watched it, and all they ever see are anime YouTubers and Twitter users who have never watched it just making fun of it all the time. But it is very good story. It is a little bit slower moving, but it's one thing I like about it is you have like the main characters, they have insecurities, they have, self-doubts, they have all these problems, and it's not a situation where once one of them confesses to the other, all those just magically go away. It's something where even after there's a confession, they still have their insecurities and self-doubts they have to work through. All right. And there's our positive stuff. Now let's go over to overrated live-action shows.
Not overrated romance animes where we all just say each other's pick. I'm not answering. I don't know enough about the genre to even begin to say.
No, overrated live-action shows.
Why do you do this to me, Joe? I don't want to answer.
Mine is Hannibal. I tried watching it. It's so loved. The show is very, very pretty. The actors are incredibly good, but I found it to be incredibly stupid. I did not enjoy it at all. I thought the setup was really good with, I think Graham, I think is his name, working with Hannibal on cases, but I just thought it was stupid. It seemed like a fantasy show to me. I did not like it. So I know a lot of people love that show. I'm sorry. I did not. I thought it was terrible.
And that show had Mads Mikkelsen in it, right?
Yep. And he was terrific. The actors were A+, so good. He was a really kick-ass younger, like, Hannibal Lecter, or take on the character. That was one of the main reasons I tried to watch it a little bit longer, but just not for me. However, it's a cult favorite, so at least one person is pissed off right now. But don't worry, guys. I like some stupid-ass shit, so I'm not one to talk.
All right. I guess I'll go. I'm going to go with Bridgerton. Even though I did watch the first season, I quite like it. I really like time pieces and stuff. I just think that it's not as good as some people say. And if you really like shows from time pieces, what am I trying to say about
Period pieces.
Yes, period pieces. If you really want good period pieces, I think you could watch something else or read the books and stuff. Like, I just don't think it's that great with how hyped it was. But, maybe it's just not my favorite. That's all.
All right. And then for me, I'm going to have to go with live action One Piece. It's like, now one thing I will say, the sets, the props, the costumes, all that looks fantastic. It looks like the characters. My issue with it is the directing, the writing, the cinematography. It just looks terrible. Like, it comes out, characters don't act like the characters. Zoro now is just the super broody guy the entire time. Luffy just sucks, all right? Luffy is just lame. Nami's just
But Joe,
angry.
he's a different kind of pirate.
The fact that he has to say that so many times, just like, instead of Luffy being like, "Yep, I'm a pirate," he has to make sure to. They have to make sure to tell the audience, "Don't worry, Luffy's a good guy," by having him always repeat, "I'm a different kind of pirate."
Which is something he never says, right?
No, because he's just, "I'm a pirate." He
Yep.
doesn't need to try to tell people I'm a hero.
I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
They decided to take Garp and Kobe and throw them in an entire storyline that, timing it all out, takes up an entire hour. For an 8-episode show, that's an entire episode devoted to those two characters that should not be there. You could have spent that hour building up Usopp and Sanji, who were thrown in later in the season. Back where Luffy's fighting Arlong. Anime, I know I can beat you. Manga, I know I can beat you. Live action, I don't know if I can beat you.
Why do these changes? I don't understand.
Sheta, you got to admit, it makes the character better if he's lamer and less cool.
No. This is why I'll never watch that show.
And then the I don't want you to. And then the final fight of the season, it's not against Arlong. No, he gets defeated in like the first 10 minutes of the last episode. Final fight has to be against Garp. And like the show just casually reveals something that's not revealed until like 300 episodes in the anime. They'll just throw it out there in episode 4. And I just don't get how everyone just loves it so much. I watch it, I could not get past episode 4. Then I
Joe,
just skim
we
the
live
rest
in a
of it.
world where the Transformers movies are successful. I've long past stopped asking why is yada yada popular.
Those I can understand. Those have like over the top good special effects. One Piece kind of sucks. The cinematography is boring. So much of it is just straightforward, face shot, like straightforward waist above waist face shot when Luffy's talking to Zoro.
I think the reason that it's as successful as it is even if he sucks, Luffy's still the main character instead of doing some kind of weird shit where they make it look completely unrecognizable, I think the bar is just so goddamn low that people are like, wait, he's wearing a straw hat? Wow, 10 out of 10 show.
Yeah, I do feel like that. It feels like so many people are so used to 2 out of 10 star anime adaptations that when they get a 4 out of 10, they're like, holy shit, this is like an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. And ones that don't completely and utterly go against subvert the material down to its core. It's just kind of a not that good adaptation. They're like, wow, that's amazing.
And I think the worst part about it is you can't argue with people about it because they'll always say the same exact thing. You're like, I don't like it because of this. They'll always say, well, Oda worked with it. Oda approved it. Like, Oda worked closely with it. It's like, Oda's not he's not getting dailies every day. He's not on set. There's a language barrier there.
Well, as you know, the guy who's making 3 comics a week of the biggest manga ever made is very concerned about how some random American streaming adaptation will portray those things. That is his number one concern.
Yeah, and it's like, people make it sound like he's like a director on the show, but it's like he probably gave some small approval, saw some costumes, maybe saw some stuff, but he's not seeing it all the time. And so the whole Oda approved it thing just doesn't fly.
Yeah, but you do have to admit, Joe, Oda did approve it.
Let's move on to Brandon Sanderson.
He approved the Wheel of Time show, Joe. So that makes it a good show, right?
He was a producer on it.
So it must be good. That's what I've heard. I've heard that he had raving reviews about it.
The show also got canceled after 3 seasons.
Well, we know who to blame.
All right. So, back to Brandon Sanderson. So, first, let's do our recap of last week's chapters. with Sheta
good.
this week.
Yes.
Oh shoot! Why does that get us every time? Okay.
I don't know. I do it every week. You guys should be prepared.
Yeah, I know.
I would
don't know
never
why.
prepare.
Yeah. Okay. Gosh, I have terrible notes. I'm always so mad at last week, Sheta, for taking such terrible notes. I had like Vivenna eats fish from Vasher. Like, wow, good notes. Or like I have just some theories written down that I'm like not nonsense. Okay, so 46 to 49.
Yes.
No.
Wait.
No.
No.
It was
No,
like
it's
50
50
something.
50 through 53.
Oh, okay, even worse notes. Okay. Can you start me off again on chapter 50?
Let me scroll up on this. Chapter 50 starts off with Blushweaver and Lightsong, and they are having the vote.
Right. They're gonna vote on whether or not they're gonna go to war. Lightsong is kind of like, I'm gonna pass, and then he just walks inside, doesn't vote, and I don't remember. Vivenna and Vasher talk a little bit about the past. I'm so sorry. I have such bad memory. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay.
Well, off to a great start.
I know. I have such bad short-term memory. Unless we get going, I'm not gonna really.
You mean long-term memory. You forgot which one it was called. Oh my god.
All right. Well, something happened to Siri. Vasher did something, and then Lightsong did something. That's what you still have to put out there.
Didn't Siri gets caught by somebody? Siri's with an S? I thought it was a C all this time. Why? Okay. Okay, yeah. The priests the priests and a bunch of lifeless they come and take Siri away right as she and Susebron like were trying to do their plan where they expose him to all the gods and stuff. Yeah, she gets taken away. And then let's see. I'll just say Vasher and Vivenna talk, and then Vasher decides he's gonna go and rescue Siri for Vivenna, and then he gets caught by Denth and them, who were waiting at the castle all this time. And oh no, I don't want to go there. Okay, and then Lightsong and Laramir are doing some sleuthing, mystery solving kind of fun thing, and they follow his kind of lead from his visions through the tunnels, and he's feeling all heroic, but they end up getting to a really shady place, and when they see Blushweaver there, no, don't make me say it. Blushweaver and some priests, and they want Lightsong's commands. He says no, kind of like, I forgot them. Sorry, guys. And they kill Blushweaver, and it's just so shocking. And I think that's where did I miss anything?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Then Lightsong did give him the commands after Blushweaver was killed.
Yes.
And they threatened Laramar. Yeah, that's pretty much all the major points you hit. So, all right. So this week we finished the book. So how are you guys feeling about the end of the book?
No complaints.
Some complaints.
Sacrilege.
I am with Sheta there too. I do have some complaints about the end.
Oh my god.
Yeah, how can you have no complaints, Justin?
I just don't have any complaints.
I'll bring mine up at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So any other thoughts you guys want to throw out there before we go, or?
No, ready to go.
All right. So let's just go into the summary then with chapter 54. And we're with Vivenna, and she meets with a man named Tuft to get information. Tuft is a person that she had met while she was living on the streets. And she asks him about any disturbances that could also involve awakening, and he tells her to check out the buildings near the wharf. And then next we cut over to Vasher, and Vasher, he notices that it is morning. And he has been handling the torture well because he knew what to expect from the torture, and he just does what's to be expected.
I wanted to see more of that. I thought that was really interesting when he's like, he knows how to scream, like what they expect to hear, basically so that they won't inflict more pain than they have to and stuff. I want to learn those tricks for if I'm ever tortured. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I like him conserving his energy too, like
Mhm.
so you're not like actually being tortured all the way the whole time.
Mhm.
Gosh.
And then he
Being
taunts
the
Denth.
torture is always one of those things. I always wonder, and I never want to find out how I would do under torture.
Well, I
Always
guess would be very
curious.
poorly.
Well, you never know. You learn a lot about yourself when somebody's got a plier to your fingernails.
Well, Justin, if you want to try it out, we could probably waterboard you.
Well, it needs to be in a situation where you have information you actually want to hold out on. If you're just being tortured for fun, you're going to give out very
What?
quickly
Not
because
quite
there's
the
no
same or
point.
something?
I don't think I'd do good, but you never know, and I'm always curious, and I hope I die never learning. And I especially hope I don't die while learning how I am under torture. That would be the worst one.
Jeez.
All right, but then Vasher taunts Denth by saying that, hey, it's not fun as you thought it would be, is it? And Vasher thinks there's still a good man inside him. He tells Denth that torturing him will not bring her back. And then Denth picks up another knife and says, no, it won't. And then we're back to Siri.
If there's one guy who's not going to be able to talk himself out of this situation, it's Vasher. So I don't know why he's even bothering.
I think it's just kind of small talk at this point. Like, I don't think he really thinks he'll talk himself out of it. I don't know. I feel like he hasn't seen Denth in a while.
He just misses his old buddy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. When he says there's still some good in him, seems like he really does care about him and, he really means it.
It's hard for me to feel that bad for Vasher or even see him as the good guy when I've only got his side of the story of him murdering this guy's sister. I would really be curious to see that, and then I could form a more, informed opinion about Vasher.
That seems to be a theme for Vasher. Like, still don't know him that well, like, after all this time.
Wait a minute. I'll
What?
bring that up later. I just realized something.
Yeah.
Something that I like.
All right, maybe write it down or something. That way you don't forget it later.
Yeah.
All right, but then we jump back over to Siri, and, the priests are moving her through the walls, and she figures that there must be a third party that she doesn't know about that is trying to help her. Because, the other people fighting, it's not the priests, and it cannot be the Idrians because the other party is using Lifeless. And then the priest brings Siri to Susabron, who's also being moved by priests. He tries to move towards her, but his priests hold him back. Siri tells him that she doesn't understand what's going on. Trellis tells the men to move because this place is not safe. Siri asks him what is going on, but he ignores her, and so then she asks again more forcefully. And Trellis says that a group that they don't know are using Lifeless and trying to get to the God King. Trellis asks about a squadron of reinforcements that he had demanded to come, and Bluefingers arrives, telling him, yeah, those people aren't coming.
The second Bluefingers walked in here, I was like, all of Sheta's worries about him, I believed immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, what convenient timing, Bluefingers.
Well, he's the head scribe.
Mm-hmm. But just like, don't worry, I found a way out. Come this way. I'm like, all right, sure, Armin, I'm going to follow you.
What's wrong with Armin?
Nothing, if you're not a certain character in a certain part.
Oh, it's been a while since I read it. I don't fully remember everything.
Well,
yeah, and Bluefingers tells them that the enemy has taken the East Wing, and they need to get the God King to safety. And Bluefingers gets Siri's attention and says that they can escape through the tunnels, and Trellis agrees to the plan. Trellis wants to have half the soldiers go with Siri, Susabron, and Bluefingers. And something about this feels wrong to Siri. Bluefingers tells Siri that he had promised to get her out, but she asks about the priests that they're leaving behind, and Trellis shouts at her to go. He and the priests will allow themselves to be seen and lead the attackers in a different direction. Bluefingers tries to lead Siri away, but she thinks about the advice that Lightsong had given her a while ago. Don't make waves until you're ready and try to appear average and non-threatening. She looks at Bluefingers. Someone in Teteller has been pushing the kingdom towards war, but who would benefit from the war? She wonders why the priests would sacrifice themselves to save Susebron if they just planned on killing him. She asks Bluefingers how it feels to be from Ponkal, yet everyone always assumes you're Hallandrin. They want to be free, but they have no military. But if their oppressors go to war, then they might get an opportunity to break free. In response to this, Bluefingers runs away.
Nothing.
I have a very good answer
like
to
I
that.
said. Yeah. Yeah. These guys are not good at this, in my opinion. Just as I was saying last chapter.
I will have
Which
to say,
makes me feel kind of bad for them because they're not just a bunch of natural psychopaths.
One thing I do kind of like about this is exactly what she said. Like throughout the story, the Ponkal were written just be kind of overlooked. Like you had different instances where it's like, "Oh, you're from Ponkal. You're pretty much Hallandrin, anyways." No, we're not. And like Blushweaver's like, I think at one point it's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then whatever the Ponkal religion is, I don't know.
I felt that
That's
from the
how I
beginning.
feel.
Like, why are you letting them even work here?
Oh, I see, Sheta. Hunt everyone down. Is that what you're saying? That's the moral of this story?
Oh, everyone who? All the Ponkar people?
Every pawn call. Hunt everyone down.
No, but I was surprised that they worked there like as if it was just their job. I was like, how do you work at a church and not be part of their religion? You know, it was weird.
Put all heathens to the sword. That's what I'm hearing you say, Sheta.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, it's not quite the same as working in a church because they're working in a palace, and the God King
A
was still the
palace
king.
that's ruled by a god.
Mm-hmm. A god king. So samey same is all I'm saying.
This is before the days of separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't know if it's before. We don't know what other countries out there do. They could separate it.
You know, I find that I would be very surprised if a medieval-based country in a world that has visible magic and miracles was not openly religious in their government.
Back to Siri, and Siri tells Susebron that he was right, and they should have trusted his priests. She tells Trellides that they cannot go that way because Bluefingers was leading them into a trap. Trellides says they will have to fight through to the front gate then. And we're back to Vivenna, and she arrives at the dock slums, and she's walking around, and she hears Nightblood calling her name. She walks past doors and up some steps and stuff until she finds one door that has black smoke creeping out from underneath it. She opens it and finds 4 dead men, with one who had stabbed himself with Nightblood.
No, not old what's his name.
Old chaps.
Chappy.
Old Chaps. I was really hoping he would come back and be a whole character.
No.
Damn it,
Nightblood-
Brandon. You introduced the most interesting character in the whole book just to kill him off screen.
I'm surprised that guy wasn't Hoyd.
But then Hoyd would be dead.
You know. So that's why I knew he was gonna die, because he wasn't Hoyd.
Yep, that's what I think about every character. They're dead.
Yep.
They're not this guy I don't know who could even all be different guys with the same name. Yep.
Nightblood tells Vivenna that he had tried to get them to bring him to the court of the gods, but it did not turn well. While she's talking to him, Vivenna feels sick. Nightblood tells her that Vera Trellides threw him into the ocean, but he had managed to get himself out. He also says that he thinks Vasher is hurt. Vivenna asks where he is, and Nightblood says that he was at the God King's palace trying to save her sister. And he says that he thinks Vasher likes her, even though he says that she is annoying. And he says that Vera Trellides had stopped him. Vivenna asks who that is, and Nightblood says that she calls him Denth, and that he is Shishara's brother. And Nightblood also wonders if Shishara is there. Vivenna wraps Nightblood in a dirty blanket, that way she doesn't have to touch it, and she heads to the court of gods. Then we're back to Lightsong, and he is just staring at the stones in front of him that has Blushweaver's blood dripping down him. Larimar tries to get his attention and apologizes for yelling at him. Lightsong says that they aren't gods, because gods don't die like that. Larimar says that she was a good woman. Lightsong says the dreams he was shown were lies, if this is what they led him to. He says that the people shouldn't have worshipped him, and they should have seen the truth. He was just a silly scribe that played God for a few years. He was a coward. Larmar says that, he is not a coward. Lightsong responds that he couldn't save her. If he had been more brave, then he'd have joined her and taken control of the armies. Larmar says that Lightsong was a scribe, but he was also one of the best men he ever knew. He was his brother. Larmar was still a priest back then. Back then it was for Kind Winds the Honest. But he was starting to lose his faith by seeing how, Kind Winds always lied and played political games. And then Lightsong died rescuing Larmar's daughter. The girl Lightsong sees in his dream is her. When they found Lightsong's body, Larmar lost hope and decided he was going to resign his position. Then Lightsong returned right in front of him, and Larmar knew that if a man like Lightsong, who died to save another, was chosen to return, then the iridescent tones were real. He gave him back his faith, and we also learn Lightsong's real name, Stenimar. Larmar says that Lightsong is a god, at least to him. It doesn't have to do with power, but who he is and what he means. And that's the end of that chapter.
I wonder if Larimar and Steinomar were twins. That's why their names rhymed.
What?
Lightsong's real name.
Is that do people commonly name twins rhyming names? That would piss me off. If I was a twin, I'd be so annoyed.
Dan and Stan.
Oh God, I would fucking hate that.
That would be funny though, because now Lightsong has like a god bod, and Larimar does not.
Yeah, of all the things I expected, Brothers was not one of them.
It's pretty cute, though. I guess. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I always do that. Pass.
What do you mean pass? You can't start saying, this is a podcast. You can't start saying something interesting and then be like, all
right. Mind. I am just kind of personally, I'm annoyed, and I don't like that the girl in his dreams was Larimer's daughter, because that threw me through such a unnecessary thing, because I kept thinking, oh, is it a love interest? Is it a soulmate or something? Like, I just put too much thought into it, like that it was someone really special, and that ruined the Blushweaver Lightsong thing that they were doing too, because I'm like, no, he has a soulmate, and like
wow, yeah, I never thought any of that stuff.
No, I just thought that.
I mean, if I did, I didn't think it was a big deal.
I put too much into it and said it was just like his niece or something innocuous like that. So I was like, boo, I really wanted some kind of great love and a big thing from that, but
that was your main squeeze in your dreams.
I know.
Well, we already knew from a few weeks ago, Larimar told him that the person in his dreams was not his lover or wife or anything like that.
Yeah, Sheta didn't believe him, right?
At that point, it was too late,
It doesn't matter. I want him to date her anyways. Dude, that's your niece. Oh, fuck.
Also, I think at that point she was saying she didn't trust Larimar.
Yeah.
Sheta, who did you trust in this book?
Good question.
You can't say, "Oh, I was right about Blue Fingers" when you didn't trust anyone in this entire book.
That's not true.
You thought last time that Susebron was the most the evilest character in the world.
Up to the last second, I did.
Up to the last second?
Yeah.
So you can't say, "Oh, I was so right about Blue Fingers, guys." Sure, I also thought every other named character was evil at one point, but I was right about him.
I think she trusted Siri.
Yeah, Siri, Lightsong, Vivenna. And
yes, you trusted every POV character.
I trusted
about every other character.
Yeah, I trusted Blushweaver too. Yeah.
Did you? I don't know.
Yeah. No, that was just you who was like, she's behind it all. And I was like, I don't think so. He was just a pawn.
I will have to say, though, out of all the books we've read so far, this one is probably the one that you two, your predictions at the end, neither of you were close at all. Really.
I don't think I was. I don't remember saying anything close.
No.
Well, your sacrifice was there.
What?
Lightsong sacrifice.
That is not guessing something. That had to happen. There was no way that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and
yes.
And Justin's thing was all the returned would sacrifice themselves to stop the army.
I didn't know they were too stupid and selfish.
And you can really tell we're towards the end of the book when we're getting so many POV switches in one chapter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to chapter 55. We're back with Siri and Susebron. And a soldier tells Trellides they might be able to get out, between all the fighting and stuff. Trellides says that if they can get out of the court of the gods and into the city, then the people will rally around their god king. Siri asks how the pawn call got so many lifeless, and Trellides just shakes his head. She looks over at Susebron and can tell that he has thoughts and ideas working in his head, but he has nothing to write them down on. And then Trellides tells Siri that she cannot bear the god king a child. Like all returned, he cannot sire children. And they don't know how the first returned had managed to do that. Siri says that Trellides doesn't even think that the first return did, and that the royal line must just be some fabrication. Trellides says that they already have a child returned, and that they're going to raise up, and Siri says she already knows that, and that surprises Trellides. And then she says that he is planning on taking Susebron's breath away, which will kill him. And that just shocks Trellides. And he says they would never do such a thing. All Susebron needs to do is give away the large amount of breath that he has, but he can keep his divine breath and live on. He and Siri would be allowed to live the rest of their lives out in the middle of nowhere. Siri doesn't believe that this is possible, but Trellides says that it is. Any of the return can gain more breaths and live on. All right, and then Siri says that they keep the returned in ignorance, but Trellides says the returned have no need to awaken, so they have no need to gain more breaths. Siri, says that she's just surprised they don't just cut out the returned tugs as well, and this pisses off Trellides. He says that they do what they must. The power of the breaths could destroy kingdoms, and it is their sole divine mission to keep it safe and not use it. All these breaths that Susebron has needs to be saved in case Kalad's army ever returns. She asks Trellides how Susebron can give away his breath if he can speak no command. But before Trellides can answer, they get attacked on multiple sides. Siri and Susebron try to escape through a side door, but they run into Blue Fingers and some lifeless. And then the priests keep throwing themselves at the lifeless to protect Susebron and die. Trellides does the same, he dies, and he takes his secrets with him.
No, not him. He was my favorite. I was so sad.
No. You have to give me my answers, is what I say.
And then Blue Fingers looks at Siri and says that they are going to go somewhere. And then we're back with Vivenna, and she's trying to get into the court of gods, but a guard is refusing her entry. Nightblood says that Vasher never asked and just went inside. So Vivenna goes to the side of the wall and awakens a tapestry to carry her to the top. But once she's up there, she's found by a bunch of guards. Nightblood says that she is no better at sneaking in than Vasher is. Vivenna uses another tapestry to get to the ground inside the court and runs for the palace. Nightblood tells her that Vasher is on the 3rd floor and sends an image of the room into Vivenna's head. And Nightblood says that he destroys evil, so she should use him on the men ahead and asks her to pull him out. Vivenna doubts that is a good idea. Instead, she tosses a sword at them, and they all begin fighting over it. Vivenna gets to the palace and uses her awakened clothes to strengthen her and stuff and climb the side of the building. She looks down and can see a man that's holding Nightblood and fighting the others off as they walk inside the palace. Nightblood tells Vivenna which window to head to. As she climbs, an arrow hits nearby her head. She hears more arrows coming and realizes that her awakened cloak caught one of them. And as she's climbing, she decides that she's going to do what she can to avoid looking down. And they go back to Lightsong, and he's just staring straight ahead because he just has too much information to process. He looks back over at the priest and realizes why he felt something was off with them. With his heightening, he's able to, see the colors and stuff better, and he can see that these are just simply pawn call people who are wearing the robes of the God Kings. They'd all been played for fools. We're back with Siri and her best friend Blue Fingers, and she demands Blue Fingers to tell her what he's going to do to them. And, she says that he can't do this. Blue Fingers responds that this is the only way to break free. She says the Idrians are innocent, but Blue Fingers responds that they aren't innocent, and that they rolled over the pawn call as well during the Many War. And then Susebron punches a lifeless and tries to fight the others in order to give Siri the chance to escape.
That was by far my favorite part. Just punches it in the face.
So Sheta, were you still not trusting him here when he's fighting the lifeless?
No, I trusted him at this point.
All part. You
see.
said until the last second.
Actually, let's see. There was a point where I was finally like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, it's much, much later. Because here I'm like, maybe he's just trying to trick her into thinking like he's trying to save her or something like that.
What's the point? She's
I
already
don't know.
captured. Why get her hopes up just to capture her immediately?
Just because he's a troll. He wants to be
He's
like,
that
you
evil.
trusted
I
me,
just
you
thought he
dumb
was
bitch.
so evil. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just pure evil. There's all the
Mhm.
evidence.
Yep.
This almost makes me wish that we didn't like read the last chapter or something. Just make Sheta just believe he's completely evil for an episode. So yeah, Susubron's trying to get Siri the chance to escape, but instead she tries to grab Bluefingers. But while she's reaching for him, a lifeless grabs her. Some Punkal people in priest robes arrive, and Siri realizes that Bluefingers played her for a fool the entire time. He was the one who had put the doubts about the priests into her mind and drove a wedge between them from the beginning. And the man that showed up tells Bluefingers they got Lightsong's command phrase and have changed all the lifeless to their new phrase. Bluefingers tells him to command the lifeless to march on Idris. After he leaves, Bluefingers tells Siri that only a couple men know the new command phrase. And once the lifeless are on their way, these men will kill themselves, so that way nobody can stop the lifeless. Bluefingers tells some lifeless to take the God King below. Siri asks what he plans, and he says they will take the bodies of Lightsong and Blushweaver to the lifeless barracks and surround them by dead Idrians they took from the city. The corpse of the God King will be found in the dungeons, so it will look like Idrians assassinated the God King, and then Blushweaver and Lightsong sent the lifeless out in retribution. And then Idrians came, fought Lightsong and Blushweaver, and killed them. Bluefingers tells Siri that this would have been easier if Siri did not get pregnant. She says that she isn't pregnant, but he responds, well, the people think you are. They need to get both Hallandrin and Idris angry enough to want to destroy each other. So she will die, and each side will see the death of her child as an act of war. It will be a drawn-out war of hatred, and neither side will realize that their real enemy is the peaceful Pankal. That's the end of that chapter.
What do you mean I didn't predict it? I predicted the Pankal people.
Sheta, you predicted everyone was evil.
No, I said they would be like a one of the people in the war.
One of the people in the war.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that you shouldn't trust Bluefingers. He was my
Yep, because his fingers are blue.
yeah.
Yeah, the reason you didn't trust him was not because of his actions, it was because his name had the word finger in it.
Yeah, gross.
Tell you what, Sheta, if next book, based on somebody's name, you suspect who the traitor is going to be, then I will apologize and say you totally predicted this book.
Wow. I don't get any respect on this show.
Okay, Rodney Dangerfield.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else from this chapter either you two want to go over?
Mm.
I feel like there was something, but I have totally forgotten it, as unsatisfying as that is.
Well, we'll go to chapter 56 then. And Vivenna is hanging outside the window of Vasher's room. Both Tongfa and Denth are in there with him. She knows she cannot defeat Denth, so she has to try to surprise them. And if she goes in and tries to surprise them and she misses, then she is going to die. After everything that happened to her recently, she's able to push down her fear. She gains determination and takes some of her breaths back from her clothes. She awakens 2 ropes she has and tells them to grab when thrown. Then she jumps into the room, and the look of utter shock on Denth's face is almost worth everything she's been through. She throws the ropes at Denth and Tongfa. Denth reacts and is able to cut the rope in the air, but Tongfa gets tied up. Vivenna rushes over to Vasher and cuts his rope down using her sword. And then Denth stabs Vivenna in the shoulder. Vivenna looks up and meets Denth's eyes, and he says that he isn't very impressed. But meanwhile, Tongfa is being strangled by the rope, and Denth curses and goes over to save him. Vasher tells Vivenna they are wrong about everything, and that the people are sending the lifeless to Idris to attack. She needs to get home and tell her people to hide and not to fight or get other countries involved. Vivenna takes the rest of the breath from her clothes, and then touches Vasher and gives him all the breath. She says that he will be far better at this than she is.
Hey, that's the smartest thing Vivenna's done the whole book, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Vasher picks up Vivenna's sword and faces off against Denth. Denth says that it is funny that they bleed like ordinary men. Even though they are stronger and live longer, they die just the same. And Vivenna remembers that Denth always claimed there was no way Vasher could have beaten Arsteel in a duel. Vasher and Denth begin to fight, and Vivenna can tell that Denth is clearly much better and is going to win. And then Tongfa grabs her, and his cloak touches her face. And she thinks, Tongfa, he cannot possibly be dumb enough to still be wearing the same exact cloak that he was wearing the night that she left. The cloak that she had tried to awaken, but got stopped before she could give it a command. But turns out he is. So she takes her breath back from the cloak that he is wearing, and then she awakens it and tells it to attack and grab Denth.
Good old reliable Tongfa.
Tongfa slams into Denth, and in the struggle, Vasher gets knocked out the window.
That felt like a comedy. Like, and then Denth stabs Vivenna. The end. I thought this is the exact kind of turn in a book that Joe would hate the most, though. And then our heroes just die because the other guy was better at sword fighting. The end.
It depends on the book. Some of them, I'd be fine with it.
No, if it was just this exact book, and then they died there, and the armies destroyed the world, the end. And Bluefingers was the hero all along to his people. Even I would have felt a little betrayed by that ending.
Sounds like a Joe Abercrombie book. Apologize for any fans of Joe Abercrombie. He's a great writer. I just wasn't a big fan of the ending. All right, Denth cuts away the cloak and tells Tongfa to send their lifeless after Vasher. And then Denth looks at Vivenna and tells her that she is far more trouble than she is worth. While falling, Vasher awakens a rope and uses it to slow his descent. And gets to the ground, a group of soldiers come up to him, and he begins to fight them. More soldiers join in the fight. While fighting, Vasher awakens a dead soldier's clothes to fight alongside him, and the clothes stand up and pick up a sword. He does the same with a second set of clothes. The three of them fight in a circle, but there are still too many soldiers. And then Vasher curses, and then he hears Nightblood say that you shouldn't swear because Shishara told him that was evil.
It's so funny to be like, why in the fuck did you get back here, you fucking cursed psychopathic sword? Like, I'd be so curious what the story is about him getting here.
Wait, getting where? Oh, Vasher thinking that?
Nightblood. Yeah. Last he heard, he was tossed in the ocean somewhere. I'm sure he's used to that by this point. I just think it's quite funny.
He's like, son of a bitch. He's back.
Like, you're a sword who cannot move.
I mean, as long as they've been together, I feel like he knew he would find his way back home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nightblood's like the dogs and cat from Homeward Bound.
Mm-hmm.
Cute.
Whole journey.
Vasher takes his breath back from the clothes and runs inside the palace and finds Nightblood surrounded by dead bodies. And then Lifeless come into the room. And it is at this moment that Vasher grabs and completely draws Nightblood out of its sheath. And Nightblood yells, "Destroy!" Black liquid falls from the sword and dissolves into smoke in the air. Pain shoots up Vasher's arm as Nightblood begins leeching away his breath. And Vasher begins to fight the Lifeless, and every single one that he cuts with the sword turns into smoke. Regardless of the cut, even a small cut, smoke. After a few minutes, Vasher has lost about half the breaths that Vivenna gave him, and he has killed about 50 Lifeless. The normal soldiers watching all this decide just to run the fuck away. And then Vasher runs to a wall, and he cuts it, and his sword cuts into it, same as flesh, and it turns to smoke. He jumps onto a table, cuts the ceiling, awakens a rope to climb up. He does this a couple more times to get up to the third floor. He runs into the room that he was in before, but the room is empty. And Nightblood is still saying, "Destroy evil!" The longer he holds the sword, the faster it drains his breath. And once all his breath is drained, Vasher would wind up being killed by Nightblood. It's at this moment that he just tosses Nightblood away, and it slides against the wall. Vasher has barely enough breaths to be at the first heightening. And then a dueling sword is dropped in front of Vasher, and Denth says, "Stand up, we're going to finish what we started."
I don't know why Denth thinks this is going to prove he's a better fighter when Vasher's half dead.
I feel like Denth is just bored at this point. He's so old and tired, I feel like.
I think he's just pissed off.
I guess if he's held on to that anger all this time, he probably has some despair.
There you go. We waited all book to see Nightblood get fully unsheathed, and you got to see it in all its glory.
For a second, I really thought it was just going to be Nightblood against the entire Lifeless army, because before they said like how much breath it was taking, I was like, well, yeah, just let him like go free against these things.
I like how he describes, even with all the breath of the city later, somebody would get a lucky shot in sooner or later to say why that's not possible.
Yeah.
So they knew you were wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not going to be as ridiculous as that, but the 2003 Clone Wars cartoon where they had Mace Windu fight an entire, like, army of clone troopers by him, or army of droids by himself. That scene was really over the top.
Yeah, basically that.
Anything else in this chapter either you do want to go over?
I can't think of anything. I was by this point I was zipping through these quite quickly, so they all kind of blend together as one thing. I like the speed at which that draws the breath makes it seem pretty much virtually useless unless you have a shitload and you need to kill a lot of guys really fast. So it's so funny, the idea that all these random people would pick it up and get dead in 2 seconds because they've just got the one, you know? This sword kind of sucks, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's a mess up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of those weapons that does more damage than good to yourself.
It's funny that its main use is just to toss to random groups of people.
All right, on to chapter 57. So Siri is led into a room on the 4th floor by several lifeless and by Bluefingers. She thinks about how the Ponkal are inserted into scribe jobs all over Hallandren. She tells Bluefingers that the Idrians won't fall for this, and they will take refuge in the mountains and won't fight. Bluefingers leads her into a room with a black stone altar, as the lifeless also carry in bodies of priests, including Trellides. Bluefingers says that he will make certain that Idris is angry enough to fight. And then we're back to Lightsong, and he's sitting in his cell despondent when he sees the God King thrown into the cell next to him. But Lightsong doesn't care because he already failed Blushweaver and everyone else. War is coming, and Ponkal will have its revenge. Over to Vasher, and he picks up the sword and stands up. Denth asks him to tell the truth and says that he did not defeat Arstil in the duel. When Vasher doesn't answer, Denth begins his attack and stabs Vasher in the shoulder, which Vasher thinks is typically Denth's go-to first move. Hurt them in the shoulder to cause them pain, but they're still able to fight just to play with them.
Stupid. Don't play in a fight to the death. I don't care how good of a fighter you are. It's just a bad idea.
Vasher thinks that Denth was always better at swordplay, while Vasher was the better researcher. But his discoveries had led to the Many War. And Denth says once again that Vasher never beat Arstil. Back over to Siri, and she asks Bluefingers why he's going to kill her on an altar. She says that he doesn't have to do this, but he says that everything he has done, what is one more death? He tells her that the Idrians talk about Hallandren and how they hate and distrust the priests and speak of murders on altars. So Bluefingers will allow some Idrian mercenaries to find her body, and then they will let everyone know that Hallandren had only accepted the marriage in order to sacrifice some of the royal blood to the God King.
It's funny because you know exactly that they would believe that just from how we started the book. No questions.
The Idrians of the city will riot, and the Hallandren city guard will have to kill those people rioting to protect the city. Some Idrians will escape back to Idris and tell them what happened, and Bluefinger tells Siri that, I'm sorry. Probably not like the way in that South Park Imagination Land, or... No, it wasn't. It was... Whatever
that was the BP oil spill one. Yeah, with Captain Hindsight. We're sorry. Like more seductive every time. Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
You say you should have positioned that over there instead of there. Flies away. Thank you, Captain Hindsight.
Back to Lightsong and his positivity, and he's asking himself why he could not save Blushweaver. He sees Susebron moaning with frustration and wonders, why isn't he speaking? And he thinks to Larmar's words about how he is a god, but thinks that he is not a god, and he's also not a good man. And then Lightsong pretty much flashes back to his life before being a god. because he's back on a ship. It was a ship that they had rented because sailing was a hobby of Larmar's. A storm had hit the ship, which had a Red Panther painted on it because that was the name of the ship, the Red Panther. Larmar yells at Lightsong to lash some barrels down, so he goes and he does that. It came naturally to him because he had been on enough sailing trips with Larmar. They're still in the storm, Larmar asks for help again, and then his daughter comes out of the cabin. But when the next wave hits, she gets thrown overboard. Everyone's yelling and screaming, and Lightsong, still holding on to the rope, jumps into the water. He manages to grab her, he ties the rope around her leg, and then he's pulled down into the depths.
They even point out in the book, his ability to tie that knot around her leg during all of that is very impressive.
And Lightsong's back in his cell, and he remembers that the void had taken him, but he'd wound up seeing war and destruction, and something sent him back. And, he notices that as Susubron's, making noises, he notices that Susubron has no tongue. Lightsong looks around the room at Blushweaver, at Larmar, and the God King, and realizes that this is the moment that he has been seeing in his dreams. And he remembers standing on the other side, looking down the world, and seeing everything he loved dissolve into destruction from a war even more deadly than the many war. And he remembers a calm and comforting voice offering him an opportunity to return. And now at this moment, he thinks that he realizes and thinks, I actually am a god. Lightsong stands up as the priests go in, they grab Susubron and shove him to the ground, and one raises a sword and is about to kill him. Lightsong tells Susubron that he is his king and he is the lord of the gods. Lightsong thinks that he had seen the void and came back for a reason. He reaches out and grabs Susubron's hand and says, my life to yours, my breath become yours.
Really makes me wonder about the logistics of them being returned, because he's right, everything was leading to this. And it makes me wonder if some of the other lifeless who guided him towards here, not lifeless, returned, who guided him towards here, were also just fulfilling their purpose as well. Like, Blushweaver's death, or the All-Mother giving up the lifeless to him, stuff like that. Like, I'm so curious what guides them all, and I really wonder if they see that glimpse at the very end because they're inspired to do it, they know it's the time, or how many of them just randomly one day choose, okay, I'll give up my life for this, and then it wasn't the thing they returned for. How pissed would you be when you get to the other side? I'd just love to know more of the logistics of this.
Yeah, did Blushweaver see that she was going to get her throat slit like that, or?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or
she
just
didn't
feel that she was supposed to do what she was doing, like that was her guiding light, or was she just stupid and making mistakes?
Or it could be something where, she looked and she saw the same war that Lightsong saw, so she went in to try to go in and try to stop it too. But
yeah, I wonder.
And yeah, like Justin was saying, my first time reading this book, once you had the scene earlier, or once you find out that, return, they give up their breath and they die, at that moment I knew that the book had to end with Lightsong dying.
Yeah, no question. It has to.
All right, and then we jump back to Denth and Vasher. And Denth is easily beating Vasher, and he keeps landing slashes on him. While fighting, Denth berates Vasher for judging him for becoming a mercenary. He asks...
Oh, so he actually is sensitive about that. I thought he was just BSing as his little joke.
Denth asks if he really should just go back to the happy, friendly man that everyone loved. And Vasher says that he was a good person. Denth says that he has tried to go back, but the darkness inside him won't let him escape. He can't forget the terrible things he has done. And Vasher offers that he can make him forget, because he knows the commands. Denth thinks of it for a moment, but says that neither of them deserve it. As Denth prepares to kill Vasher, Vasher touches his leg and gives Denth all of his breaths. The breaths flow into his body, and Denth drops to his knees in pleasure. Vasher uses this chance to slash Denth's throat. He tells Denth that nobody ever expects someone to give away their breath and then kill that person. Doing that just makes them lose more wealth than most men would ever know. Denth's hair changes color as he dies. Then Vasher tells Denth's corpse that he wanted to know how he killed Arsteel. Well, here it is.
I like that answer. I thought it was so funny when they get in battle and he's actually not that good at fighting.
Yeah, I was like, if I was a Vivenna, I'd be like, what are you doing? I put all my bed on, everything on.
This guy talks all the time about you fighting and how you killed this legendary swordsman. What are we doing here?
Yeah, he talked about defeating a legendary swordsman, but he also kept saying there's no way he could not have beaten him in a duel.
Yeah. You can cut this out if you want, Joe, but I can't help but imagining this move being like using the like orgasmo ray. And they describe it like
see that. What an embarrassing way to go, man.
yeah.
Yeah. I think he even said that as Denth had like the blood coming out of his neck, it's like he's there, he's like dying, but he's still like reacting in pleasure too from the breath.
Pleasure in a different way than orgasmo, Sheta. We've seen it from the other side. It's not like that.
Still is acted out the same
like-
in my head.
It's like, wow, oh my god, this feels so great. Look at all this color. Oh god. Not that.
Still sounds like the same.
2 different Trey Parker references in one chapter.
We'll have 5 more soon enough.
All right, and then we're back with Bluefingers and Siri. And Bluefingers is getting ready to kill Siri, and she tells him, you know, if you're going to kill me, then just kill me standing. Don't kill me on an altar. And he's like, all right, I can do that. And then she tries to convince him that, you know what, I'd actually be better as a hostage. But he takes the knife, and he readies to stab her in the heart.
Give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah.
And then the entire room begins to shake, and all the black stones turn white. And colors burst out of all the white stones. And the door slams open, and all sorts of awakened cloth come to the room, and it just starts tying up all the lifeless. Susebron walks in, and cloth wraps around Bluefinger's arm, preventing him from killing Siri. And Susebron says, "You will stop!" And then he goes over to Siri, releases her, and she embraces him.
What is it where they have that's Preacher, like a god voice, where they say a command and yeah, you have to obey it.
Yeah, that's Preacher. Or, I guess Code Geass, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sheta, I need to ask, at this point, were you still distrusting Susebron?
No.
Because this is what he was working towards the whole time.
Jesus Christ. So Lightsong gives up his life to save the king so he can go out to save everybody, you know? And then this mean-ass story is like, what an idiot, believing he had purpose from the other side. Lightsong even manipulated the true god out beyond all gods who whispered to him if he wanted to return. That was going to be the ending of this book?
No, more like the side sending him to do their purpose was working with Susebron.
Oh, so your faith upon dying after sacrificing yourself, the devil is like, I'll send you back so that you can get him back his tongue. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll help save the world. And then the devil laughs and wins. And that's the end of this book, Sheta?
They wouldn't win. The other heroes would fight back still, but he
you
would
only had like 2 chapters left. How are you going to wrap all
I
that
didn't know
up?
how many we had left.
And also, Susebron does this. And then he goes and saves Siri's life and embraces her. And then it's still like, yeah, I'm still evil though.
Well,
That'd be such a
obviously he
weird-
still needs something from her, because by Sheta's theory, he would need a reason for her to be alive still, right?
Mm-hmm. And maybe sometimes the bad guys do kind of fall for the girl and want them to like be with them still, even after they go evil. So that happens sometimes. So like, come with me, you know, that kind of thing.
One thing with all this I do find funny, it's not just you guys, but like other podcasts I listen to, almost all of them said that, like earlier on with the they see Susebron has no tongue, almost everyone came up with the same thing. They said maybe someone can awaken a tongue and put it inside his mouth and use that for him to speak.
Hey.
You
What
said
the
it.
fuck?
Like 2 different other podcasts I had said it. But the funny thing is, we're told early on that, oh yeah, a god can give up their power in order to heal other people and stuff. Not a single person ever thought, maybe someone will heal the God King's tongue.
Yeah, he's a god. That's weird, man.
I think we're all just distracted by the lifeless thing too.
I also didn't interpret it as heal, like that basic. I interpreted it as like save, you know, even though they said like, you know, the sick got healed. I didn't really link it up that clearly.
Yeah, healed is like you put a band-aid on you, not you grow a new tongue, you know? Like
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah. Because we didn't hear a story about somebody getting their arm cut off and having it grown back or anything. So yeah, that's probably why. I think you're right.
Yeah, but one guy was there talking to Allmother who had like a lame leg and to get
Yeah,
that
but he
healed.
didn't lose his leg and grow it back.
yeah, you can put a cast on. Like growing back a tongue is just unheard of. I think it makes sense. I mean, all of us thought that, so
Well, I'm just saying that it's funny that
that is funny.
It's
Well,
more
do-
likely to make a fake tongue you would wear inside your mouth than just that you would just
We're
do the
getting
thing that makes
creative
sense.
here with the elements that we have. That's all I'm saying.
also if the tongue's awakened, how would he control it to talk? It's still
That
not
will
He
be
would need it
funny.
would have a command to move as my mouth moves.
No, yeah, be like kiss this girl really good with your tongue.
But it's still it have to be,
Not like that.
you'd have to give it the command, move as his mouth moves. Because he still can't
Mhm.
awaken the tongue himself.
Dang, you
Well,
would bite your
no.
tongue
You
all
give him a
the
tongue, and then he can awaken his own tongue after that, and give it a better command. So you'd give it the command, awaken. You'd give it the command to say a command to awaken a tongue. That's what you would have to do.
Stupid. I think this way was better.
All right. Anything else in this chapter either you two want to go over?
No.
Justin, have we reached that point you said earlier that you thought it's something that you wanted to bring up later?
Yeah. Did I miss? Is Tonkfa okay? Did he die out and I didn't notice?
Oh, Tongfa, he lives. He's still alive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm so happy to hear that. I just didn't realize that when I was reading until he was fighting Siri, and I was like, wait a minute. Is Tonkfa going to make it through this book? I'm so impressed with my
I'm
boy.
pissed. Your boy.
Yeah, I think in the next, I think I even wrote down the next little segment that Vasher, he brings up that there's no sign of Tongfa or Jewel, so they must have taken the money and ran.
I'm
Good
pissed.
for them.
I
I'm really
want a
glad.
Tom father die.
I'm really glad
He's
about
the
this.
worst. He's an animal killer and a psychopath. Like,
An animal killer. He is a human killer.
yeah, but he's an animal torturer, which is never a good sign.
No. He's an animal torturer because Denth wouldn't allow him to torture humans.
Exactly.
The second he got the chance, he very excitingly accidentally killed one.
Yeah, he killed Parlin.
To
And
be
don't
fair,
you ask who that is, Justin.
I know who Parlin is. Because he's associated with my favorite character, Tonkfa.
But
Get
I love
out.
when I did the which characters will live and die thing. When I said Tongfa, Justin's like, he has to die. There's no way this guy can be allowed to live.
I am incredibly shocked. And I know what I'm hoping the next book is about.
Oh my gosh.
Tongfa's journey to a different planet.
Mm-hmm.
I will quit if that happens.
All right. Well, let's just move on to chapter 58 then. I think this is the last chapter that's not an epilogue. Yep. Final numbered chapter of the book. Vasher finds Vivenna gagged and bound in a closet and he frees her. He tells her that he's out of breath and it was hard to find her. She asks where all the breath went and he answers that Nightblood ate it.
Yeah. What about all that fucking breath I gave you?
Huh? Yeah, why does it seem
Nightblood-
familiar? Like when you give, just when you give an allowance out and it's all spent.
And at this point, Vasher has Nightblood again, and Nightblood's back in its sheath. And Nightblood asks, what happened? It doesn't remember anything, but it does know that they slayed a lot of evil. Vasher tells her that Denth is dead, but there is no sign of Tongfa or Jules, so they must have taken the money and run.
Yeah.
Love
Good
it.
for them. I hope they
Stop.
live happily ever after.
I don't think we ever saw Jules or Claude after the scene in the...
Yeah,
Vivenna
I was
escaped
surprised.
from
I kept expecting Jules to come
Yeah.
back. I was really
How about
surprised she did
Claude?
not.
Claude is supposed to come back and join our friends.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just
Sheta's right. He was supposed to.
yeah.
But Vasher tells her that they still lost. Denth may be dead, but the war is still going to happen. He was not able to get to the Lifeless in time. Then we're back to Susebron, and he leads Siri down to where Blushweaver and Lightsong's corpses are. And Larimar is holding Lightsong's head in his lap. Siri says that he was a good man, and Susebron says that he knows that. He had never spoken to Lightsong, but Lightsong still gave his life so that way Susebron could live. Larimar says the amazing thing is that he did that twice. Siri thinks about how Lightsong had told her that she couldn't depend on him, but in the end, it turns out that he lied about that. Susebron says that they need to gather what is left of his priests and find a way to stop his armies from destroying her people.
Awkward.
Vivenna pleads with Vasher there must be a way to stop the Lifeless, but he points out that there are just too many Lifeless for him, even with Nightblood. She says that there has to be a way, and he says that he thought the same thing once, but then went too far, and it wound up taking a life of his own. She asks what he is talking about, and he answers the Many War. And then she asked, "What Many War? Who are you?" And Nightblood tells her that people used to call him Talaxin. And Vivenna knows Talaxin as one of the 5 scholars. And Vasher tells her that Biochroma can keep a man alive a long time. Vivenna asks how to stop the Lifeless, and Vasher tells her you can stop them with other Lifeless. Or they could wind up chasing them down and break their command codes one by one. But even at the 8th heightening, which gives you just automatic, code break, it would still take weeks to get all of them. Vivenna says that, you know what, we could just wait and they could run out of Ichor alcohol. But Vasher says that Ichor alcohol works like blood, so it's not just going to go away if they don't take damage. She then suggests that they awaken their own army, but Vasher points out they don't have enough breaths for that. She suggests the God King because he has plenty of breaths, but Vasher says that he has had his tongue removed. And even though a person at the 10th heightening can command mentally, his priests likely have not taught him that. Vasher also points out that...
That's a funny thing to say, because he knows the score.
And Vasher also points out they don't have enough bodies to awaken. Which sounds to me like they just need to commit a big old genocide, then they can stop the army.
Yeah, that'll stop the war. Kill everybody. What are you, freaking robot? Like humans are the problem?
We found a good solution.
Mm-hmm.
The Pancall rebelled, so you kill every Pancall and then raise their bodies to fight.
Honestly,
I'm not kidding. I really worry for the Pancall after this book. I'm going to be honest. It's like happy ending, but we do need to destroy all Pancall.
Yeah, there is that little problem. You can't do that again.
I'd be curious to see if that's not what happens somehow.
Well, Siri and Susebron seem to be open-minded. Maybe they'll try to treat the Pancall better.
Well, better than the, others. Good for a Pancall. That's what I'm saying. It's a mercy to put them down. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Oh.
Gee, Justin.
And then Nightblood points out that Vasher left an army here last time. Vivenna asks about this. Nightblood says that last time Vasher told the priest to take care of his breath, and he gave them his army and called it a gift to the city. Nightblood says it was yesterday, during the Many War. Vasher says that Nightblood doesn't really understand. And at this point, Vivenna realizes that Nightblood is talking about Kalad's phantoms. And Vasher reluctantly says that they are in the city, but he does not want to give them to Hallandrin. It would be a tool worse than what they already have. Vivenna asks if this army can prevent the slaughter, and Vasher says yes. So she tells him to do it anyways. Even if she hates Hallandrin, they are not her enemy. Vasher says that they must go find the God King then. And then we go back to Siri and Susebron, and they're on the roof of the palace. A priest tells them that they had heard a rumor of a plot to attack the palace, so that is why they had locked both of them away. And they're looking out, and they can see a cloud of dust in the distance for the Lifeless army, which has already left the city. Susebron says that he will go out there and fight them, but a guard says that he cannot fight that number, and he will be taken down. Siri suggests that they send messengers to Idris to explain the situation and have them withdraw and ambush the Lifeless, but in her mind, she thinks that will not work. And Susebron can tell that she's only suggesting this in order to protect him. A guard comes up and tells Susebron that someone is here to see him, and that this person has the royal locks. Siri is surprised to see Vivenna, who's wearing trousers and a tunic, come up onto the roof. Vivenna's hair turns yellow, and that also confuses Siri that she's not able to control her hair. And Vivenna dashes at Siri and embraces her.
Oh, sisters reunion.
Vivenna says that she came into the city to save Siri, but Siri says that she does not need saving. And Siri introduces Vivenna to Susebron and says, he's not as bad as people say he is. Vivenna says their homeland is under attack, but she has a plan and that Siri will have to trust her. She has a friend that would need to talk to Susebron where no one else would be able to hear. Siri is hesitant and thinks about how she also trusted Bluefinger, but Susebron says that he will do it.
When she's like, I can trust her, it's my sister. That's when I started to be like, wait a minute, wait. Is she a shape changer? Is there some element I missed here? They got me really paranoid now.
Off screen, in between the last scene and this scene, Vivenna was killed and replaced by a Chandra.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Something.
And so Vasher comes up onto the roof and he's stripped down by the guards and checked for weapons. He had left Nightblood, on the floor below, though. And Susebron tells Vivenna that Siri is a wonderful woman. And Vivenna is surprised to find that she kind of likes the God King. And she can see that Siri and Susebron do love each other. She sees that Siri has changed and is more regal now and no longer taking pride in being unimportant. Vasher walks over wearing nothing but a wrap.
Okay,
Susebron
whoever plays Vasher better be really fit because he's constantly being stripped.
With Jonah Hill as Vasher.
I mean, nowadays...
Nope. Super bad Jonah Hill.
That's also kind of young if it's super bad Jonah Hill.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I hate it.
It has to be the actor who played Neville Longbottom, but only if he stayed dorky looking, not if he got better looking. And then, so Susebron asks who he is, and Vasher says that he is the reason that Susebron had his tongue removed. And then Vasher begins to glow, and he grows in size. His muscles bulge, and his beard goes away, so he's clean-shaven, and his hair is golden. He is a returned. Vasher says that he left a wealth of power here long ago, and gave instructions for its care, and for it to not be used. And he tells Susebron that he is giving him his army, Kalad's Phantoms, the force he used to stop the Many-War. Susebron says that, but you ended the war with negotiations. And Vasher responds that, yeah, you don't know much about war.
Does anyone else here want to negotiate? Is what I think about. From Fifth
What's
Element.
that? Oh.
From Fifth Element, we're sending someone to negotiate. Just comes in and shoots him.
And he tells Susebron that to use the army only to protect, not attack, and only use it in emergency. And he gives him the command phrase, my sin is hidden. This phrase can be used to awaken the Dedenner statues all throughout the city. There are bones inside the statues, so that is a lifeless army. There are about 1,000 stone soldiers in the city. Susebron says, but they have no Ichor alcohol. And Vasher says that is not the only way, and he thinks that the Ichor alcohol has kind of become a crutch for them.
I cannot believe that the stupid little line about I've seen interesting things with skeletons is going to be the most important line in the book.
The soldiers have also been brought up time and time again, the stone statues throughout the entire book.
Yeah, that, sure. It's the skeletons line specifically. The rest of them, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But that's just like a little offhand thing. He's like, well, I have seen some pretty cool things done.
Well, he did say another time where I think later it's like, yeah, like Shishara was able to do this, and all I could do is like, surround, bones with like steel or stone.
See, that, yeah, seems obvious, like an obvious one now.
Yep, and he says that, they should find the soldiers very effective, and that weapons are virtually useless against stone. And he tells Susebron that they are his responsibility now, and to do better with them than he did. And that's the end of all the numbered chapters. Anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
Yeah, that's when I believed that he was not a bad guy.
Wait, once he finally got handed all the power of the world, that's when you believe he's not a bad guy?
Well, I'm like, when the book's over, there's not another book, so I'm like, all right. Well,
yeah, and then it's like Epilogue. As he watched the world be destroyed before him, Vasher knew he had been played in a con that had been hundreds of years in the making by the ancient evil beyond all evil. Like, you didn't expect that to be what it was?
It would have happened sooner than that.
Like, he needed Siri alive so that her and her sister would be able to come up with this plan and trust them, Like, it was all following together, all the stuff you were saying, and that's when you trust.
I didn't trust. I was like, okay, it's over. He wasn't trusted, and he was like, it was when he was all reverent of Vasher that I was like, okay.
You'd think that wouldn't be a con he'd put on after he seduced
Oh my
this poor
God.
girl? I'm
I
saying
don't
now is when I'm scared of him. He has more power than anyone in the world.
Maybe if there was if it was a trilogy, but it's not. So.
Why in the hell would you allow Tonk Fa to live?
I know.
What
I'm
is the
so
reasoning
mad.
for that? He is dangerous.
That pisses me off.
Not me.
Yeah, I know you love Tonk Fa, but
Yeah, he's great.
I can't believe that. No, he's not great. He's not great. He's not even entertaining enough. Like if he was really psychotic and really like I'm just like, why? I wanted him to just get choked to death. Like I'm just
No, that part's so funny when Denth's like, and yeah, god damn it.
I can't believe that. If Brandon Sanderson ever writes a second Warbreaker, I want him to kill Tonk Fa in there.
Warbreaker 2, The Return of Tonk Fa. Because the
Tonk Fa
fans
return.
demanded it.
So when it comes to that, he has says that he does have ideas and he wants to write a second one, a sequel to it. But it's so he has his books that he's like guaranteed these are the ones I'm going to 100% write for the Cosmere. And like this is the order these ones will be published in. So we do know like all his upcoming stuff. And then the next level below that are these are the ones I really want to write, but there is a chance they might get cut. And that's where a Warbreaker sequel comes in. So it's high up on his list that he wants to write it, but it's not guaranteed.
Okay. All right.
So
that freaking cock tease.
So we might get another one, we might not. Anything else in this chapter you want to go over?
I guess my one complaint is I feel pretty gypped that I didn't get to see the frickin' Stone Army fight the zombie army.
Yeah,
that would be my one thing.
That is my complaint too. I just feel like the ending was like I like the epilogue. The epilogue's perfect, and that's a great epilogue. I do feel like for a numbered chapter, there should have been like at least just one more chapter. Like we didn't see them actually get to awaken the stone statues. We're just told, "Yep, we're gonna go do it." We don't see the statues actually go out and fight. I kind of would have liked to see, like, if Siri and Susubran go out with the statues for her to show back up in Idris and to be like, hey, Dad, look, I actually managed to do shit.
Oh, yeah, we never get to see her dad again. That I would want to see, too.
Oh, man, yeah. That's probably the biggest one.
I would have liked to see just a little bit more interaction of Siri and Vivenna. We got to see a tiny bit there, but I would have liked to see maybe just a little bit more of that.
Yes.
Yeah,
the reunion was...
Yes.
Ew, what do you... Ew, stop.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's my main complaint is that the ending just felt too abrupt there. Just one more chapter of just falling action, soldiers get awakened, and yeah.
Like, hey, Mom, if you see me now, like... Also, for me, I think we got so much stuff about, like, their other siblings, and we don't get anything on them either. Like, they don't do anything else. Like, why even have them? With Fafin and their brother, who I don't remember. They're like,
you really thought Fafin was going to return?
I really wanted Fafin to come back because I'm like, she's the hottest of the sisters. She hasn't done anything.
Well, I think I could probably tell you why they're written, but they're not actually in the story. It's
yeah, like they play their parts and say that they have to have one join the church or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and well, Fafin's also written to give a second sister there. That way there's one in between Vivenna and Siri to give more of a reason why Siri wasn't really trained for this. Because like if Siri was second in line to be the God King's wife...
Yeah, but you could have just said anything. You could have said, but the law forbid you from training the second born and yada, yada, yada.
And then the brother was there as a reason to upset Vivenna even more because you have to have like the male heir and make her feel more like she doesn't have a place in the world anymore.
She definitely felt useless after she wasn't sent. That really helped there. I just wanted to see them again. And I did want to see their dad's reaction.
I just wanted to see a stone army kill a bunch of zombies. I'm much simpler.
Yeah, how would they kill him? Would they just like stomp them, squish all the juices out of them? Like, how would they do it?
Yeah, it's going to be very violent.
They
Yeah,
probably just skip all the stone soldiers' swords and have them go.
yeah. See, that would have been fun. That would have been a mess though. Who's gonna clean that up? I wonder.
The stone soldiers.
I guess so. Like, all right, kill him, put him in a pile, and then light him on fire. That's your command. See, I want to see that now.
I don't want to see that part. I want to see him smashing them, like you were saying.
All right. Now we'll move on to the epilogue. Vivenna watches as 1,000 stone soldiers charge the city after the normal lifeless. It's been a day, since the normal lifeless had left. And she asks Vasher if they can really stop the army. And he says, probably. They'll be fast enough to catch up, and they will be really hard to beat. And he says that her people will be safe now. Vasher says he is leaving, and he begins to walk away. And Vivenna walks next to him and says that she is going with him. He says that she is a princess, and she could stay with her sister or be proclaimed a heroine in Idris and live a happy life. Vivenna thinks that she couldn't live a happy life in either of those places. Everything she had been trained to do was a lie wrapped in hatred. She doesn't want to go back to that. She doesn't know who she is, but she thinks she will find out on the road. Vasher says her family will worry, and she says, they'll get over it. Princess Vivenna died on the streets of Teller, and Vivenna the Awakener has no desire to bring her back. Vivenna asks who Vasher really is. Kalad, the person who started the war, or Peacegiver who ended it. And he answers that people couldn't really understand why he suddenly changed and used his phantoms to seize control of his own kingdom. So they had decided that he must have been two people. She asked how he can keep looking like a normal person when he is returned, and why doesn't he die when he gives away his breaths. But he says those are his secrets. But she should have figured that a return can change their forms, because she's got return blood in her. Where does she think that her ability to change her hair comes from? She asks if she can change more than her hair, and he says maybe, but it would take time to learn. The two of them had gotten breaths back from the clothes that Vasher had awakened before the fight with Denth when he first went to the palace, so right now they are both at the second heightening. She asks where they are going, and Vasher says that Cuth and Huth, two of his main rivals in the mini-war, are being restored by a tyrant that is an old friend of his. There were 5 of them: Vasher, Denth, Shishara, Arsteel, and Yestiel, the 5 scholars. And it looks like Yestiel has resurfaced, and he is Arsteel's brother.
Twins again.
And Vasher has heard rumors that he has found a new form of Iker alcohol that is more potent. Vivenna asks what his real name is. He's gone by Peacegiver, Kalad, Vasher, Talaxin. And he says that he doesn't remember anything before he is a return, so he doesn't know what his name was then. He was found and kept alive by the Cult of the Returned, and was given a name from them, but he did not like it very much. Warbreaker the Peaceful. He can't figure out if the name was prophetic or if he is just trying to live up to it. He just wishes that he knew if there was really something spiritual about the return, or if it was all just cosmic happenstance. And Vivenna says that he should have been called Wartlover the Ugly. Vasher asks if those comments are proper for a princess, but Vivenna says that she doesn't care, and she never will have to again.
So she always had a childish sense of humor she was covering up. That's what we've learned here.
I'm like, oh, sorry, I won't be mean. Never mind.
You mean for her making a cringy joke?
Yeah, you should be called Stinky the Fart Smeller.
Well, Justin, ending with a cringy joke is what Serene did in Elantris too.
That's Serene. She was open about that stuff.
Yeah, Vivenna finally relaxes a little and tries her first joke. Oh my goodness.
I'll have to say, one thing I'm surprised that neither of you brought up when we were going through the book was, earlier in the book, you had Nightblood Saint calling Denth like Varatrelides. This was like weeks ago when Vivenna was still with him. Neither of you questioned, why is he calling him Trelides?
Yeah, what is that?
What's his name?
Why is it that?
I think it's mainly a hint that Denth is more. Because, like, so he was one of the 5 scholars, so that'd be kind of a religious
Yeah.
thing. So his name's Vara Trelides. So that's why Trelides then takes
Yeah.
kind of a...
But for
Man.
1 second, I'm like, oh my god, he's Trelides.
Yeah.
For
Oh
1
my God.
second. Because I hadn't
like-
remembered that. I was like, what a wait, that doesn't make any fucking sense, was what I thought
Mhm.
immediately. But I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised neither of you, when you heard Vara Trelides like weeks ago, you're like, is he related to Trelides? Is he like his brother or something? You
I
both are
didn't
like,
think of that until this time. It didn't even cross my mind that the names were similar. And that was just because they were used in a chapter around the same time, I think, where before they must have been more parted out.
Yay.
Anything else from this epilogue you two want to go over?
Just that Vivenna should go on stage.
Sorry. So mean. No, she should not. She should never try to do a joke again.
Jeez, and you say I'm the
After
main
that, I would have been like, if I was Vasher, I'd be like, all right, you're not coming with me.
one.
So, yeah, and even in that epilogue, you get a little sequel hook there that we might not ever get.
Nothing
All right,
I love
now-
more than a good old "the adventure will continue next time" that you never have picked up on ever again.
All right, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read the inside cover flap from the hardcover. Do you want to just look at the paperback and see if it's the same or not to know if I was all right for me to tell you not to read it?
Okay.
So I want to read this to you, and you could probably see why I told you not to read that.
Inside cover, or what is this?
So check the back of the paperback, because this is the inside cover flap. So this is where it's giving a little summary of the book. So it might be the same as the paperback, might not. I have no idea. I just so curious if they did that. But the inside cover flap of the hardcover. Warbreaker is the story of 2 sisters who happen to be princesses, of the God King one of them has to marry, of the lesser god who doesn't like his job, and of the immortal who's still trying to undo the mistakes he made hundreds of years ago.
Oh my.
Their world is one in which those who die in glory return as gods, to live confined to a pantheon in Hallandrin's capital city, and where a power known as biochromatic magic is based on an essence known as breath that can only be collected 1 unit at a time from individual people. By using breath and drawing upon the color in everyday objects, all manner of miracles and mischief can be accomplished. It will take considerable quantities of each to resolve all challenges facing Vivenna, Siri, Princess of Idris, Susebron the God King, Lightsong, reluctant god of bravery, and the mysterious Vasher, the Warbreaker.
Wow.
I hate everything about that description with a fiery passion.
I think the description's fine, but the fact that early on it says, oh yeah, Vasher, the immortal
No,
person
it's telling
trying-
me that Susebron is a big character. That was a huge plot point too.
Yeah.
Everything about that sucked.
Boo. Who did that? She's
then-
fired.
Was that the same as the back of the paperback or no?
No, that's different.
Okay,
No.
okay, so you guys would have been safe to read that.
Yeah.
But yeah, or the fact where it calls him Vasher, the Warbreaker, which is literally given on the final page of the book. And then, you know what? There's one other thing I will tell you guys something that you can notice if you read the book, that it's there, but it's not directly stated. So this will make Sheta happy and will piss Justin off.
What?
Oh.
All right, so Arsteel, they were friends with him and stuff, and Jules had a thing for Arsteel, so she only joined the team to be with him.
Oh.
Then Arsteel dies. So then what they did, they took Arsteel's body, awakened it as a lifeless, and renamed Arsteel's lifeless body as Claude.
Oh
That is
my
fucking
gosh.
disgusting.
I can't
Which is
believe
why-
it.
Which is part of the reason why it said that Claude was a slightly better fighter than other lifeless, because they do return some of their past.
Yes.
And
So you're saying we have canon necrophilia in this book?
yes,
Yeah.
let me I want to check one thing out. Make sure I'm not misquoting it.
Wow.
Brandon
Alright.
Sanderson, quote, "There is necrophilia in this book."
There is not.
And there is in every book I write. If you're curious, you just need to
It's
know where to
hidden,
look.
yeah.
Yeah, I hide it because society's
All right.
not mature enough to
They're not
accept
ready for
that.
this.
Yep.
All right. Yep, here it is from the annotations from chapter 22. Jules is still in love with him, and yes, she still sleeps with him on occasion.
See?
And yes,
I told you.
she's a little bit unhinged emotionally and mentally because of his death.
What is this?
What?
Is this real?
Yeah, this is yeah. Brandon Sanderson wrote this. This is from the annotations for chapter 22.
Oh my gosh. I just fell down in my chair. I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
You
Man,
sick fucking
only in
bastard.
my wildest fan fictions would I ever dream that that was real. I can't believe that.
Yeah, that is something where if you go through the book and you notice them talking about Arsteel and stuff, and there are some hints there that Arsteel is Claude, and
Oh
why
my
like
god.
Vasher would see him and he hated, like Vasher would call like Claude as a lifeless an abomination, where him calling a lifeless an abomination doesn't quite make sense because he's
Yes.
fine with all other ones, just that one.
Yes, okay, that's true. Yes, he had a weird stare in his eye when he was thinking about Claude. I knew he was somebody. Wow.
So he had all that time where Justin was getting so upset with Sheta, being like, "There's nothing with Claude and Jules. Stop that! Stop that!"
You
Yes.
sick bastard, Brandon Sanderson.
Man, so there was like a love triangle between Parlin, Claude, and Jules.
I think
Yep.
you're looking into it a little more than.
But yeah,
Yep,
if
and
Parlin knew that she
And that's
was,
also why Denth would tell Vivenna, yeah, you don't need to worry about Jules getting with Parlin.
he's not her type. Sorry.
A little too warm for her.
Yeah, maybe later. That's dark.
But hey, both of them are still alive, so if there's ever a sequel made, they could always show back up.
All right. So the serial killer and the girl who sleeps with a zombie starring in a book together. I would read the hell out of that book.
Okay, yeah, after adding that bit, yes, I would read that as well. Oh my gosh, I still can't believe that. Man,
Right.
I feel like me and Brandon Sanderson are on the same wavelength.
I don't think so, Sheta.
Yes, everything I'm like, do it, he does. Like,
All right, so now we're not going to talk about the whole book. We're just going to talk about the ending, but I'm just going to ask you, how do you guys like the ending of this book?
Besides not seeing that war, no complaints. As I said before.
as I've said before, I never read books like this, like at this pace. So I don't know if I like sitting on it for so long and coming up with theories. Like, I actually actively try not to predict things when I read a book because I don't want to spoil it for myself. So like all the reveals, like I wish I didn't try to guess and stuff, like because every reveal, like Vasher is a return. I'm like, we were already suspecting that and guessing that.
Well, that was
and-
obvious because they showed us him change his form.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have thought that if I didn't sit and think about it for a long time.
Even
you
when
know?
they said he changed size and everything?
No, yeah, no, that's the end. I meant like the whole time. Like I was already trying to figure out.
He did that when he was fighting. That's what I'm saying. When he went into the sewer area to save the girl and he was fighting and he got bigger.
Well, for that,
Yeah, they
I
pretty
thought
much
that,
confirmed that a while ago.
Wait, is Tong Fa a return too then? Because
Huh?
I just thought he had Tong Fa's powers.
No. Tong Fa doesn't have any powers. I don't know where you got that.
What are you talking about?
It said that
what
he got
powers?
It says that he seemed bigger and more fierce and stuff when he was fighting.
He was more ready to fight. That's the thing. He was no longer like putting on the little joking thing.
I
That's
see.
what
He
that
got
was.
Oh shit!
Okay.
I'm curious here. I feel like I missed something now, and you're onto something. Tonk Fa is a returned. It's canon.
I mean, all of them in their group have something, so I think Tong Fa must have something.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see a serial killer return. That sounds cool.
That sounds terrifying.
Yep. And for me, the ending of this book, I like a lot of it. Vivenna's whole ending and like her stuff with Vasher being like, you know what? I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna figure out what I want, and I don't need to be the princess anymore. Great, perfect character story throughout. I like where Siri and Susabran ended up as a couple. You know, Lightsong's ending was perfect cap of his story. But as I said, I just wish there was like one more chapter where we could have seen few more interactions of Siri with Vivenna and seen like the army, go and fight.
Mhm.
Also, I need to ask the two of you: do you still believe in the Vash-Venna ship that you were going with, or are you against
Yes,
that?
obviously.
Yeah, it'd be only a matter of time before they sleep together. Now that they're journeying together and stuff like that.
Because I will say, I never thought of them as a couple when I read it.
What?
They had so much more chemistry than anyone
Yeah, I'd agree.
than her. Yeah,
Are you
like
saying that they had more chemistry than Susabran and Siri?
well,
Yes.
then her, yeah.
Susabran couldn't even talk.
I felt like they had kind of like schoolboy crush kind of level. I'm surprised they went all the way with how childish they were. Like, I was a little disturbed.
That disturbed you.
Yeah, because like Sesebron was like like a child in his brain.
He was
Like,
naive. He was not.
he
It
didn't
went
know
out,
how it was done. Like,
but it also went out of the way to show that he's highly intelligent and understands a lot of things a lot more than other people think.
it
Yeah,
was
there's
a little kinky. That's all I'm saying. Even for me, which is all saying a lot, is all I'm saying.
Sheta, I think that a little kinky is an understatement, personally.
See?
That was a messed up
Okay.
thing.
See?
Not for the same reasons you're saying, but for a lot of reasons.
No, not that I'm complaining, because it's one of my favorite relationships, but yeah.
All right. Anything else from this this whole like end chapters of the book that you two want to go over?
Not really.
I'm genuinely really concerned about the I'm sorry, what are they called? That religion.
Pankal.
Yeah, the Pankal. Like, if it gets out that this was the plan and they're in these servant roles all over the place, people are going to start killing them, and demanding that we go to war with them. So if they don't want us to do that, they're going to have to cover this whole thing up. And I wonder how well they'll be able to do that with, like, how open it was, like the returned are going to learn about it pretty quickly, and then, people returned, everyone's going to be demanding blood for what's happened, So I'm worried about them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that does bring up another thing that I was a little upset with at the end is we don't see what happens to Bluefingers. He just gets like captured by Susabran.
I'll see what happens to him. He's the first one executed.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I know, but
yeah. We'll take care of it.
Kind of wish they would have shown that, or that's another thing where if you had another chapter or two, you could have been able to answer Justin's question there with just like by having Susabran say what they're gonna do about the pawn call.
Yeah, if they just all pin it on Bluefingers and a couple of the priests, or a couple of the people, like it was just a small segment of our people, not
small
everyone.
Segment.
Just the head of our people, like
just the head. All I'm saying is the only way we can be sure. We all know what I'll be like Cartman. We all know what I'm saying here. And
they
we
might
all
make
know
new
what
laws
that means.
and be like, you guys can go back to your place, and maybe we were pushing you too much to like serve us. You guys are allowed to have your own religion now and stuff like that. Like,
they're allowed to have their own religion.
Yeah, but to have it in their
Look how
country,
kind we were to them. We allowed them to keep their faith, and they betrayed our people. Their faith is rotten to its core, and we need to stamp the stench of them out from this world. That's all I'm saying, Sheta.
I feel like you should watch what you say, Justin.
The only good compal is a dead one. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh my gosh, stop.
All right.
We're talking about how humans don't tend to do well when a faith launches a whole plan to usurp your rightful heir that you feel you have. And I would be very curious to truly learn what kind of king Susebron is and what kind of queen Siri is. So if there was a sequel, I would want it to explore that, and I would find that very interesting.
Honestly, I think if there was a sequel, we might not see Siri or Susebron. It will probably just be focused on Vasher and Vivenna.
If we don't get fallout about that, then if we don't get an answer about that, then I would be pissed.
All right.
Also,
sorry.
no.
Yeah, Sheta, I sort of interrupted you earlier. Did you have any final thoughts about the whole end of the book?
I don't know. I don't remember what I was going to say. I don't remember.
All right. Well, let's
Were
just
you
move
going
on to...
Well, last you said you liked that he's a freak like you. Is that your main takeaway from this book?
Yeah. I guess I'm just still...
Oh, sorry.
I'm just still giddy about Claude. There.
I think it's interesting to have this whole religion, you know, and then Vasher sees it from a bigger perspective and sees which parts are mythic, and then says are just myths, you know, and then says that he actually doesn't know if it's even a spiritual thing in the first place, you know. But we saw from Lightsong's perspective that he did sense a voice when he was on the other side, or a presence of some kind, implying that there is actually a religious aspect to it. And I think it's really interesting when you only allude to that. You don't officially say it for all the characters to see. I just think it's interesting way to do spiritual world building.
Yeah, I can't believe that we don't get a real clear actual answer.
Well, we didn't in Mistborn either. Even though we saw, you know, the ruin preservation thing, whatever's beyond that was heavily implied by what Sazed says about, you know, the other side and stuff. It's interesting to not see that. I wonder if that's going to be a thing we're ever going to see upon, and if these have any connection to each other about that or not. I'm very curious.
Yeah, because Sazed had mentioned that he could you could hear a word or something called Aiden Nauseum.
That, and when he says that Kelsier said to do something, I forget what it was, do something for someone, I don't remember, for Spook or someone,
made Spook, but it's just,
yeah, that was it. That kind of stuff is really interesting to me, this peeking at the other side thing. And then again, I don't know if the other side is the same other side, or I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what a fucking I still don't know what a goddamn Cosmere is. That's all I'm saying.
Cosmere is going to be the name of the god, and that's why it's his universe.
Then why would they call it the Cosmere? They don't call it the Yahweh.
Well, maybe that's just the lingo in this world.
I mean, I don't know enough to argue with you, so I can't say.
You know what? I know. I will bring it up at a different time.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we get Brandon on the podcast.
Yeah, he can tell us in person.
He can tell us himself.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then I'll be like, okay, I'll accept it.
That's not going to happen.
Hey, you never know. All I need to go is go to the right bar and then meet him, and then he's on the podcast next week.
I don't think he's just going out hanging out at bars.
You never know. Neither am I, so this would be a real surprise.
All right, let's move over to our character of the week then.
Who else but Lightsong for me? He sacrificed his life to save the land. He clutched he saw his moment and he leapt on it immediately. Anyone who can just kill themselves in a second because they know that, oh, this is my purpose in life, is quite badass to me. Especially when they're in the midst of having an existential crisis.
Man. Favorite character
of the week, not the book.
Okay.
Yeah, just this week, just from the chapters you read.
Okay.
And having nothing to do with any sort of information I just told you.
I know. I was gonna say. I guess I'll go with Vasher for completing his, I don't know, beef with Denth, and kind of being the only one of the group that didn't turn out evil and stuff. Yeah. It must be tough to kill your friends because they turned out to be a-holes.
And And then my character, I'm going to go with Vivenna. Because even though, she doesn't get like a big fight scene, she did climb a castle, save Vasher, took the breaths from Tongfa, making him attack Denth, and then at the end, the whole time with her in the epilogue and just thinking about who she is and what she's doing and just being like, F it, I'm going out on my own. I really like that and felt like a great culmination of her character arc.
Yeah.
All right, and so now let's just go over to quotes.
Both my quotes were said virtually verbatim in the last chapter, so I am out of quotes.
Oh no. So you got to pick a weird one like me.
I thought they were fairly weird ones.
Yeah, unfortunately, at like the end of this book, like I tried to summarize some of the stuff, but some of the stuff it's like I have to say this like as they said it, otherwise the summary doesn't make sense.
All right. Well, mine is just, let's see, it's Vivenna and Nightblood scenes together, which is, one of my favorite scenes too. Right. Men yelled and screamed below, and she spared them a glance. The guard who grabbed Nightblood was fighting off the others, a small trail of black smoke swirling around him. As she watched, he backed into the palace itself, the other men following him. So much evil, Nightblood said, like a woman tisking as she cleaned cobwebs from her ceiling. Vivenna turned away, feeling slightly guilty for giving the sword to the men. It's just her Nightblood tisking, like, so much evil. I thought that was very cute.
I bet you, no, I can't talk.
What? I bet I what?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was frozen. Just that I bet you really like their dynamic.
Yeah, I really like it.
And then my thing is just Larimar telling Lightsong about himself. You were a scribe, Larimar said quietly to the damp air, and you were one of the best men I'd ever known. You were my brother. Lightsong looked up. Larimar stared out through the bars, staring at one of the flickering lanterns hanging from the stark stone wall. I was a priest, even then. I worked in the palace of Kind Winds the Honest. I saw how he lied to play political games. The longer I stayed in that palace, the more my faith waned. He fell silent for a moment, then he looked up. And then you died. Died rescuing my daughter. That's the girl you see in your visions, Lightsong. The description is perfect. She was your favorite niece. Still would be, I assume. If you hadn't... He shook his head. We found you dead. I lost hope. I was going to resign my position. I knelt above your body, weeping. And then the colors started to glow. You lifted your head, body changing, getting larger, muscles growing stronger. I knew it at that moment. I knew that if a man like you were chosen to return, a man who had died to save another, then the iridescent tones were real. The visions were real, and the gods were real. You gave me back my faith, Stenimar. He met Lightsong's eyes. You are a god, to me at least. It doesn't matter how easily you can be killed, how much breath you have, or how you look. It has to do with who you are and what you mean. I just like that whole segment, just him talking to him about, how he died and stuff, and how you get a lot about Larimar's character there, because before he's just kind of the priest and stuff. Then right there you learn a lot about him, how he was close to losing faith, but then seeing this brought back his faith. You learn about Lightsong, and then it makes sense for a lot of it makes sense for why Lightsong acts the way that he acts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then I'm gonna go over. We don't have many, just like a couple small comments wanted to bring in. First was from Warbreaker, chapters 40 through 45. There was one from Ald Chad. Love how Sheta is technically correct about Lightsong dying while trying to fight with the Red Panther.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, because of the ship. I don't know why that took me so long to put together. I was like, what the fuck are you? I was thinking of his second death.
Though I can't believe that it was such a more mundane thing than the epic thing that I predicted it to be.
I don't know. I think his death was pretty epic. Jumped into stormy sea to save his niece and tied her to a rope and stuff.
Yeah, that's a badass fucking death.
Yeah, he wasn't fighting a Red Panther after getting to shore with all his other god buddies from the past.
Oh yeah, I forgot you thought Lightsong was one of them.
Yeah.
Now there's what you did predict, Sheta, and you get full credit for that.
What?
them being immortals living on into the modern day and being whole characters and stuff.
Oh yeah, the scholars. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then one from Adel 8. I've been on the Cosmere journey with you guys for most of it. I did Mistborn first, then Elantris, then Warbreaker. And, and he says, he thinks that he might jump to a couple of these books because that's sort of order that they've seen around. But they wound up, but then he says, I skipped them for The Way of Kings. And just a little bit about, how they liked it and some of the stuff they liked about it. And then they say they can't wait to hear y'all's thoughts on this book.
I can't even guess. Every book we start, I am so shocked by what they're like.
Yeah, I don't ever guess either.
I will have to say the next thing, since we're reading a comic book, I am so curious to see your thoughts on that, because that's one where it's not just the writing that you're going to be judging, but also the artwork too.
Interesting.
I'm going to be honest. I almost always hate when stories or when book writers write comic books, or when they have their stuff adapted. So I'm very curious to see what I think about this.
It's true. I'm quite judgy on art as well as a comic book reader. I mean, we're already pretty judgy on the book covers. So.
And then Warbreaker, chapters 46 through 49, from Reader Warrior. Chapter 46. Nightblood, due to it being a T4IE, makes it the first artificial intelligence in the Cosmere, if you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, technically.
I don't know that much about it. Yeah.
And then, colors forbid men have emotions, Sheta. Sheesh.
What was it you said again? I remember it was...
What was it?
I think she was making fun of Vasher for, crying when the child was in the cave or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, why did he cry? I wonder.
Because he's a little bitch. That's what you said, Sheta. Those were your words.
I'm just surprised. That's all. After him being such a tough guy and all. It's like...
Yeah, real men don't cry when little girls are being tortured.
Right. No, all I was saying was that Vivenna didn't cry. That's all. She was trying to help her get out of the cage. I think Vasher's very emotional, and that's fine. I it made him want to kill all those guys, but it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but you stay the hell away from my children. That's what Sheta's saying.
Yeah. I like my men unemotional. Just kidding.
I don't want it in my neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with it, but...
You take those man tears out of here.
All right, and then from our theories and predictions segment, counterpoint. What if Siri was actually trained by her father to be stupidly savvy and politically intelligent, and this is all going according to her plan?
That's what I've been saying.
I mean, from the start, she was the more interesting sister. She's got main character energy, right from the beginning.
All right, and then in regards to Sheta, and then he put this thing from Sword Art Online Abridged Parody Episode 2, and then he put a timestamp for 2 minutes 22 seconds in, and I just played it, and it was one guy being like, "I don't need no evidence."
My source is I made it the fuck up. That's what I always think of.
Yeah.
My source is I assumed that this is true. And the old statistic is that assumptions are correct 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you know what they say?
Right.
When you assume things, you make an ass out of you and a genius of me.
All right. Yeah, so that's all we have for comments. And then next week, we're not going to be reading any chapters because we're at the end of the book. So as usual, we're going to have our wrap-up episode. So we will, go through, give our thoughts of the overall book, answer some questions that I have for it, and then we'll also be doing our fan castings for it.
Yes.
Yep, so
very excited.
Come back, everyone, to get our overall thoughts here at the fan castings. And then after that, probably take a week off. Then we'll have a week where we'll look at we'll go through the pre-book stuff for White Sand, look at the covers, give a little information about the book. We'll read White Sands for a couple weeks. Then we'll go into Emperor's Soul. And then after all that, we'll be going into we'll be going into the Way of Kings.
White Sands, the comic?
Yes.
Okay.
White Sands, a graphic novel. We'll be reading the omnibus version, which includes an extra prologue in there. And some corrected art. Because I think at one point, either the inker or the colorist messed up, and something in the background wound up being colored or drawn as a boombox.
What kind of comic is this?
That was not supposed to be there, so they had to change it.
What the heck?
They accidentally drew a boombox in the background that was not meant to be.
How do you accidentally draw an entire boombox?
And why?
Yeah,
Why do you think I'm going to put a boombox here that wasn't in the script?
Makes complete sense in this context. Like,
I think it was, I can't remember if it was the colorist or the inker. It was not the pencils. It was not drawn like that. Just somebody made a mistake when doing the...
Okay. That
art.
makes a little teeny bit more sense.
So maybe it was just a box that was shaped weird? Is that what you're saying?
Something like that. I don't know. I might...
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to try to find the original panel to see.
Yeah, I only want to read the original version.
No. So yeah.
I'm a purist like that.
So, yep. That's what we'll be doing. And then, I guess all we have to do is throw out our plugs now.
All right. My art, Sheta_low, and my cosplays and fashion, Mermaid Machete, both on Instagram. And DeviantArt.
Oh, DeviantArt where you have like 2 pictures of.
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
My art is at Profanity Beaver. My cosplays do not exist. I'm very sorry.
Though you might find a picture of Justin's cosplay on my Instagram.
Cosplay is a strong word for that.
You got more compliments than I did. Which I always hate.
Sheta's cosplay, like 4 weeks. Mine, an hour and a half.
And yeah, so.
Or just me, where I just don't cosplay.
And how many compliments do you get?
Probably still more on your shirt than I do on my cosplay.
And then for just Cosmere Chronicle stuff, you can follow us on the different things in the links, different social medias. You can email us, cosmicchronicles@gmail.com. Like, review on the different websites if you want to. It helps. Leave comments if you want. It helps. I think. I don't know. We're small enough where maybe it doesn't change anything.
All engagement helps.
Yep. And after doing all that, like I said, come back next week to listen to our wrap-up. And
where we will be rapping, so do be ready for that.
Yeah, if you like
rapping
more
with we'll be rapping with a W, though. We need to get birthday presents already.
Oh.
That'd be kind of fun.
No, you just have noise in the background.
Oh, I thought we'd do a video of us wrapping presents while we're wrapping it up.
What the hell are you talking? It's not anyone's birthday.
I like wrapping videos. Packaging videos.
My birthday's coming up.
Not in the next week.
All right.
Also, then you'll see what we got you. It's not going to be any good.
Hey, that's a trick. Nice try, Joe.
Yeah, nice try. You almost got us.
All right. Hey, everyone. Go out. Spend the next week. You know what? It might be a week or so since it came out, but go watch Fantastic Four and in the theater.
You can't say that. We don't know if it's any good yet. What if it turns out to be the worst movie of all time, and then somebody hears this, and then hears you endorse it, and they're like, my God, you support that trite? The whole country has turned against that movie.
That's true. That's dangerous talk.
Well,
how about just go touch some grass?
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
Well, not
You're
me.
You're a braver man than I.
Or, you know what? Maybe watch a TV, maybe like a short anime or TV show or cartoon or something, or...
Yep, give Fan Four Stick another chance. We all judged it too harshly. That's what Joe's trying to say.
No, thank you.
Find out what streaming server has it and watch the first 2 seasons of Prison Break. There, that's your next.
Okay,
that's your
we can all agree on
homework
that.
for next
There we
week.
go.
All right. Yeah. If you haven't watched Prison Break, go watch it right
That's
now.
your homework.
Yeah.
Seasons,
Watch
come
it
back.
all in a week.
seasons 1 and
Honestly,
2.
yeah.
Don't worry about season 3 or 4.
If you really want more of some of those characters, go for it. But we won't judge you if you don't.
And if you really like it all, watch episode 2 of the show Breakout Kings.
Yep. That's right. No further elaboration. See you next week, folks.
Yep. Bye.
La-di-da.